Okay, guess what? We got our big Bertha Jeep back from the Jeep shop today. And boy, there was some conversations to be had there. Sadly, we did not end on good terms. I was trying to be patient with those guys. This Jeep has not run since September. I took the Jeep, so I have a new baby, a newborn. I was born in a little baby girl. I love her so much. And the idea was, let's pay a little bit of money to pay the Jeep shop so that I could spend more time with my family and they could help me get a couple little projects on the Jeep done. So the idea was that I was going to pay them to change a leaking head gasket. I was having little puddles of oil leaking on the ground, and they were going to change the head gasket. So they start changing the head gasket. They get the whole head off. They wash it. They paint it. They make it look really nice. Then when they were installing it, they get the engine all back together. They go to start it, and a bunch of coolant just starts pouring out of the head. So somehow they cracked the head gasket. They were telling me that the head gasket, yeah, honey? Okay, I'm on my way. That the head gasket was gonna crack, or it was already cracked or something, and it basically wasn't their fault. And I'm like, yeah, right. So long story long, we kind of come to an agreement that I would let them, the block was cracked. So they cracked the block, and then, that's funny, I actually needed that part, I couldn't find it. The block was cracked, I needed a new engine. And they had an old engine because they have a graveyard that has like 3 different CJs in it. And they had an engine that needed to be rebuilt anyway. So they were like, we'll sell you this engine block. You can send it to the machine shop, pay to have it machined, and we'll put it in. So I was like, after much debate and anger, we're like, fine, go ahead and we will buy the block, send it to the machine shop. So they get it back. That was 56 days ago that the engine got rebuilt. And the engine, it took them 2 months to rebuild the engine. I'm like, fine, I've had engines machined before, and I know the machine shops take time, and I guess this machine shop had a line anyway. And so I was like, fine, cool. But then after 56 days, I finally got this Jeep back today. And when I go to pick it up, they're like, it's not running well. You can't drive it home. You need to tow it home because it's not tuned. I'm like, okay, well, I paid for tuning as part of the engine replacement. And so there was a big argument about the Jeep having electrical issues that were preventing them from being able to tune it, I guess. I can see there's a leak right there. Something is leaking right here out of the intake manifold on the bottom. Sorry, so I just got it back. There's a leak here under my power steering pump, and they told me that this was leaking, so I need to get a new line here, possibly a new power steering pump. And then I see a drop of something under my intake manifold. One thing, I had to trailer it home because it's not really running, and it's also now, because the exhaust manifold is cracked, I put a header on it, this Hedman single collector header, and it's running straight header right now. So there's issues where like it's got back pressure problems because it doesn't have a tailpipe. So the sniper's not gonna be calibrated correctly in learn mode. And so they wanted me to sign this thing saying like, hey, we don't think you should drive it, trailer it home, or trailer it to somebody who can tune it. And I'm like, that's why I paid you. You know, that's part of what you were supposed to do, paying for a vehicle that after thousands of dollars, because at the end of the day it was like over $4,000 that we paid them, which what started as just a head gasket ended up being a whole new engine. But now I parked it in the garage and I'm seeing an oil spot up here in the back underneath the transmission, and I see an oil spot or two possibly up there underneath the front of the engine. So I'm trying to figure out what is leaking. I expect no leaks. Okay, here's some oil. I don't know if it's oil. Something's leaking here. What is it? I just recently did the differential, so I don't think the differential's leaking, and I didn't drive it. So all I did was start it to get it on the trailer and start it to get it off the trailer. Maybe that's power steering fluid. I just recently did the differential, so I don't think the differential's leaking, and I didn't drive it. So all I did was start it to get it on the trailer and start it to get it off the trailer. Maybe that's power steering fluid. Looks like it's going like kind of down that hose. Not sure how the power steering fluid's getting down here, but maybe that's what that is. Anyway, I gotta fix that. So maybe that's that spot, but then what's this one back here? I've got some spots here under the starter. And so, okay, I see oil. You can see oil coming off of the valve cover on the back. That is not good. I don't like that at all. I expected with a brand new engine to get an engine that doesn't leak oil. And so I don't know if that's showing up on the camera, but there is a spot up here that is leaking oil. It looks like underneath the valve cover. Let me make sure I'm catching this on the camera so that I can take a picture. Now, sadly, I really like these guys. I was really hoping that this arrangement was going to work out. It's a Jeep shop. That's all they do. But I guess, I don't know, man. I guess not many people know how to work on these old Jeeps. And so there is my leak. Let me take a picture. Yeah, so I got an oil leak here, I believe. And I just started it. I didn't actually drive it, so I don't know. I don't think that should be leaking. And I don't know that exactly that's where that's coming from. But yeah, we need to get that addressed. Because I expect no leaks. I don't know. So anyway, it looks beautiful. It's a leaky thing. The next thing I need to do is I need to figure out how to rebuild this transfer case. The transfer case looks disgusting. The transmission's been completely rebuilt. It's the T150, and then at that time, the transmission was rebuilt, the clutch is brand new, but the transfer case was not rebuilt, and I think the transfer case is leaking a bunch of oil as well. So the plan is to take this down and rebuild it. I have a kit that I bought to do the rebuild. Never done one before. I'm gonna look to my friends on the interweb for help and guidance. And hopefully I can buy an arbor press and get it done. And then transfer case is problem number one. I don't want to drive it with a dry transfer case and risk breaking up or destroying what they call the hard parts in there. And then the second thing, I obviously need to get a tailpipe. So we need to finish this exhaust. And I've got a new muffler. I have the old catalytic converter that is original from the 70s, 79. And I guess, I don't know, I might put that back on. I just don't want any problems with the law or inspections, really. Like, they say that you don't need them in Texas, a catalytic converter, but I'm like, well, what if I drive it to another state, or I want to sell it in the future? Someone from another state's gonna have an issue. Or what if the law changes? Who knows, man? Everybody's like getting green. So there's that. And then I have a single axle shaft kit. So I'm gonna try to change the axles because the rear axle has a leak back here. And I'm really just trying to get this freaking thing. They say like a Jeep is supposed to have leaks. I don't like that idea. I don't want to accept that. That may be the case, and it may never not leak from someplace. But man, I'm like, I really want to try my best because I just hate having oil leaks, and I really hate having oil leaks in the garage and on concrete. Just as something I picked up from my dad. He always hated that. He's a mechanic, and he's been a mechanic his whole life, and I know that he always hated oil leaks, so I guess I got that from him. But yeah, it just kind of bothers me. So man, that's where we're at. It's kind of a sad story, man. This Jeep is... We were having a little shouting match with the manager of that Jeep shop because they said they had it done on Friday. They know that my least favorite thing, or a huge pet peeve for me, is that I don't have the top on it. And so they had it out in the rain, and it rained on Friday night. And it's like the most disgusting rain that we've had in Texas in a long time. And the whole thing looks terrible, and a bunch of rust just started coming out, like peeking its head out. And I just try so hard to keep it out of the rain, especially when the top's off. And it's a big rust bucket, and I'm just trying to not encourage more rust, which is another thing that I hear is really hard to do with these Jeeps. So wish me luck. I think I'm gonna start to take the transfer case out as my next project after I finish building this mantle that I'm putting in my living room. Wish me luck.